the Monday after Toronto Comic-Con, and I am so happy to be here. Welcome, one and all, to Monday Night Nerd. I am so happy you all could stop by. My name's Corp Cosplay. If you're new to the channel, welcome. It means the world to me you've tuned in tonight. I've been a cosplayer for over a decade. I volunteer at conventions. I attend conventions. I'm a nerd of all types, and I am here to talk about lots of nerdy things. And tonight, we're going to talk about my thoughts on Toronto Comic-Con because it was this weekend and I had a blast there. But before we get into the review of Toronto Comic-Con, let's kick things off with a little bit of news because we've got some interesting topics tonight that affect you possibly and a lot of other people. We're going to kick things off with a little bit of social media news. If you've been in the news lately, if you've tuned in at all, you know that TikTok is all the talk right now. We are talking about TikTok because the US has put in some legislation to get it banned in the US. And you know, I have my feelings on this. I'm kind of split on it. You know, I see where their paranoia could come from. I can see their thoughts on it. However, folks, it is a social media platform that a lot of people enjoy. Now, I'm going to look at this from two different points of views. I love TikTok. I fully admit I like TikTok, but I have a problem with it because the content that I post on there just doesn't seem to do as well as it does on other things. Why? Probably because I just don't understand the platform, but that's me. So I'm kind of hit and miss with it. I'm also a marketer. In my day job, I work for a company and I'm on the marketing team. So I work with social media. I work with email marketing. I have an understanding of marketing and business. And in the end, when it comes to social media, it doesn't matter if it's TikTok. It doesn't matter if it's Facebook. It doesn't matter if anything else. All we're all trying to do on every channel, this included, is attention. That's all it is. It's a trading attention. I want you to spend your time on this channel and spend as much time as you can. That's what every one of these wants. It's just a business in the end. Do I think it's going to get banned? I really don't know. Personally, do I care? I'm kind of hit and miss. Like I said, it doesn't really work for me when it comes to my social media content, but also if it goes away, another platform is going to pop up very soon after that will take everybody's attention and put it there. I don't have any emotional attachment to any of these platforms, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever. It's just a platform. And I think if you're good at producing content, posting content, building your own personal brand, because that's what this is. This is not just Mike Myers as Myers Corp Cosplay. This is Myers Corp Cosplay, a brand. If you're good at that content, you'll succeed at no matter what the platform is, I feel. And when it comes to political side of this and their thoughts on whether, you know, China's paying attention to us and everything, listen, no matter what the decade, politicians have their devil of the decade, as I call it. There was Elvis, there was marijuana, there was metal music, there was video games, there was piracy. They've always got something they want to ban. And out of all those things listed, all of those still happen. So if you think that if they put a ban in tomorrow that TikTok is going to go away and you're never going to see it again, it's not going to happen. There will be another app that will fill its void and it will take over the world just like TikTok did. That's always what's going to happen. And Alex brought up a good point in chat. The biggest issue is that the agreement allows for them to track key patterns, etc. Folks, it's going to happen. It's something like this will always happen when it comes to apps. I'm sorry, the way that these apps come out and how they have all their back end stuff, this is something we are going to have to get used to because the government does not have enough time, energy, or resources to fix all of these apps that are going to be coming out. It's going to just be a thing that we will figure out a way to make it work and to not make it as big of an issue as it could be. But folks, these things, when it comes to security and all these things, like making sure it's going to happen. We just have to figure out a better way than banning it. It's not the answer. But if it happens, folks, it doesn't matter to me because I'll be on the next app trying to build this brand on there too. That's my final say on it. Let's jump into a little bit of more nerdy news, folks. I am a hardcore fan of The Crow. I watch The Crow every single year. Every Devil's Night, that is my movie. I'm home watching The Crow because it is one of my favorite movies, if not one of my favorite superhero movies. And the new trailer is out. And people don't like it. I don't mind it. I think it looks fine. I've seen so many people dislike this trailer. And I think the biggest problem, and I do see this as a potential, but again, I'm going to wait till the movie comes out. The relationship at the beginning with the Crow and his girlfriend, and I know I'm blanking on names right now, Eric and Shelley. The relationship in the original movie was one of the parts of the movies that didn't get a whole lot of screen time because not a lot was shot before unfortunate passing of Brandon Lee. So it was a lot of flashbacks, which I loved. And I think they want to expand it a little more in this movie. I'm okay with that. I see why people might have a problem with it, but I'm okay with it. Other than that, I think the movie looks great. It's a new interpretation of it. I love that there's a lot more sword play in it than there was in the original Brandon Lee version, because in the comics he is a swordsman and does a lot of sword play, which I appreciate that they're including that. And there's a lot of hardcore violence in this, which I am happy about. I think if they did something more, I think if they tried to make it more of a PG-13 to get the audience in, I think it would fall flat. But the way they shot it, the way it looks in the trailer, I don't see any problem with it. I see a lot of people downvoting it. A lot of people have problems with it. But I don't see anyone explaining why. I just see people not liking it. I think if you compare this to the Brandon Lee version, and as I said in my pre-show, I like the City of Angels version. Iggy Pop's in it, so it's got to be a good movie. I think if you compare it to any of those, you're shooting yourself in the foot. You're never going to get that performance again because Brandon's no longer here. Plain and simple. It was a time capsule. Ernie Hudson's still here, but Brandon is not here anymore. It's just going to live in its own world. You're never going to get it again. So just enjoy the movie. What is Alex? Alex says in chat, the director says he wants to spend half the movie on the love story. It could work if they did it via flashbacks like the comic. I really got to change that font. I think you can do it with flashbacks. I understand them wanting to really build the dynamic between Eric and Shelley. I'm fine with it. Again, I will wait until the movie comes out. Folks, we had one back in the day where what's his name? The kid from Terminator 2 was the Crow, and the villain was from Buffy, was Angel from Buffy. Folks, we're gonna do better than that. It's okay. I find it hard unseeing Leto Joker. Similar. So Andrew makes a good point, and I know a lot of people are complaining about that. If you did the Brandon Lee version of the Crow, it's just not going to work now. He was an anti-hero gothic character when that wasn't as prevalent as it is now. The Leto Joker is that type of character in today's world. There's nobody walking around like that. So I see where they're going for, but again, I'm going to wait and see it. And whether I like it or not, I will always have the Brandon Lee version, and I will be sitting down on Devil's Night watching it every single year. Alex, the violence in the trailer looks great. Thank you very much. I totally agree. Thank you for agreeing with me. I think the violence looks amazing, and I don't think it's getting the love that it deserves. I think a lot of people are just looking at his visual look, and I feel like that's a big problem. Let's hang on. My phone just went off. I'm good. Let's one last news topic before we jump into the Comic-Con review. Folks, if you were one of those people back in the day where you were looking at Disney going, you're paying $4 billion for a franchise that hasn't really been that interesting in decades, and I'm talking about Star Wars, folks, you lost a really big bet because you've got Disney now pumping out so much content that, based off the United States Securities and Exchanges Commission, they posted last week that in 12 years, Disney has made $12 billion on the Star Wars franchise. In 12 years, they have tripled the amount of revenue that they initially paid for that IP. Folks, never doubt the mouse. That company will figure out a way to make money off a franchise. As long as they own it, they'll figure it out. That's always the way they are. I think it is. I think it's incredible that they took, like I said, a franchise that, yes, we had the prequels, and everyone has their opinions of that, and that's fine. I don't mind them, but now they're pumping stuff out left, right, and center for characters that most people didn't have a clue existed or are brand new characters. And that's amazing. I love that they've expanded the universe. I'm not a big TV fan, so there's a lot of it that I've not kept up on, but that's revenue, not profit. Thank you. Yes, revenue. Sorry. It's 8 o'clock. Math ain't working. Our work hours are done. But yeah, they've made so much money off this, and they're going to continue to make so much money off this franchise because, dude, that's what they do. And they're always going to do it. So good on Disney. I can't believe they haven't made more, honestly. That is all for the news tonight, folks. We're going to jump into the quick sponsorship, and then we're going to jump into the review of Toronto Comic-Con. Folks, if you're new here, thank you very much for everything that you've come by and sat here and listened to me ramble, talking about all my nerdy stuff. If you could hit the like button, hit the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button, all those fun things, that would mean the world to me. It shows that you appreciate this content, and it shows that you want me to keep doing reviews for conventions, because I love doing this stuff. I love talking about conventions. When it comes to sponsors, my wife is always going to be my sponsor. And I know a lot of people are saying that's sucky, you're sucking up. No, it's the truth. My wife will always be my sponsor, because honestly, if you knew me before I met her, I am a completely different person now. I am a much better person because of my wife. And I would not have the cojones, or whatever you want to call it, to be on YouTube every Monday night with you guys talking about nerdy stuff. She gives me the courage to do this stuff, courage to cosplay at amazing conventions like Toronto Comic-Con. Hun, I love you. You will always be my sponsor. If there's a company that wants to throw me a couple bucks, I will put you right behind, and you'll be the second sponsor. Let's jump into Toronto Comic-Con. Folks, if you're not from the area, Toronto Comic-Con was last weekend. Yesterday, technically, was the last day at the Metro Toronto Convention Center in good old Toronto, Ontario. And I was there for one day. You're probably wondering, you're such a big cosplayer. Why are you only there for one day? Well, because I only had 1 day pass. With the premium pass for Fan Expo Canada, it gets you one extra day into the next bunch of Fan Expo events, not including Saturday. I had to work on Friday, so I ended up just going Sunday. But I have all of you on social media, so I got to see all the fun that you guys got to have on Friday and Saturday. For those who don't know me well, and this may be your first episode and don't know all my background, I've been attending cons since 2009. My first con was Fan Expo Canada in 2009. Ever since then, I've been attending probably 5 cons a year: Hamilton, Niagara, Toronto, etc. I also volunteer at conventions, so I do have some background knowledge of what goes on behind the scenes. I know a lot of the volunteers at Toronto Comic-Con and Fan Expo, so I do have an insider point of view. This is probably my 4th or 5th Toronto Comic-Con. I've always purchased the premium, now ultimate, whatever you want to call it, pass which gets you a day for Toronto Comic Con the next year. But I usually never used it because back in the day, I was a cosplayer, but I didn't really cosplay hard. Like, it wasn't my passion like it is now. So I would always wait and see what celebrities were going to be there or whether some friends were going or etc. And I usually ended up skipping it because, to be honest, this weekend has a history of being really crummy weather. I can remember many weekends of just being crummy, snowy, wet weather. And I just didn't want to go because I'd have to either bus before I could drive and even drive into the city. And it was just bleh. So now that I'm cosplaying, I want to go all the time. Oh, Lynn, you will hear about the hole in the pants story. That is coming up in a little bit. Good to see you, Lynn. Thank you for tuning in. Yeah, as Saphira Cosplay says, it was so cold last year. And that's usually why I ended up not going. But because I know all of you now, I like going, and I don't mind putting up with the weather and all the crummy driving because I get to see you guys for the first time in the year. So I ended up going on the Sunday. Got up bright and early, had my nice breakfast, hopped in the car. I ended up getting there around 10:30. I really didn't want to wait outside, so I got half hour later just because I can walk right in, makes things a lot easier. When I got there, I ended up parking at the Toronto Comic Con Convention Center in the North Building parking lot, and I was already on the top floor at 10:30, so I knew we were going to have a very full day. And it was pretty cool to see how many people were there on a Sunday. Like, Sunday's usually a slower day when it comes to conventions. It's usually, I like to call it the cleanup day. You know, you want to buy some last minute stuff. Maybe you can talk to a vendor, get a lower price. If you want to meet a celebrity, this is probably your best time if they're still there, hopefully, because the crowds are going to be less. But it was nice seeing everybody there. Parking in that lot is so nice. I usually, if you're ever coming in from Toronto, if you're ever coming in from Hamilton area, the street that's connected, don't ask me the names, some terrible street names. There's the on-ramp that goes right, or the off-ramp that ends up right on that same street. There's a tall parking garage. That's where I usually park. So it's a bit of a, it's like 2-3 block walk. It's not terrible. Being right next door, it's so nice. It's so nice to just walk and there's your car. You don't have to walk through 10 tons of possibly crappy weather. When I walked in, ticketing was a breeze. I can't say anything bad about ticketing. There were tons of people set up. They were all happy to take care of me. Walked up. I had my premium badge. I walked up, handed it to him. He typed in a code, handed me my Sunday pass, and I was in the door. Not even a minute, probably. So ticketing, they did a great job with me. Went over to the side, typed in my activation code to make sure that if something happened, it wasn't a big problem. There were some people who just decided to stop in the middle of the lane, but that's just people in general. I can't say anything bad about the staff about that because that's not a staff problem. That's a people not realizing there's other people around them problem. Walked in, everything was good. Walked into the celebrity area, and it was like a bomb hit it. There was nobody around. And I was kind of shocked because I volunteer at Hamilton and Niagara, and usually every morning there's a good amount of people who get there first thing in the morning, no matter what day, to meet their celebrity because they want to be there, get it done, and then go enjoy the con. And it was dead. And I talked to a couple of the people who work there, and I was like, am I missing something? And they said, no, it's just been a kind of a slow weekend around here. In the regular convention, it's different story, but autographs, they said it was kind of slow, which I kind of shocked me, but kind of didn't based off of the celebrities that were there. I think if you were a hardcore fan of some of these properties, you really were excited, but I think there was a lot of casual people that kind of saw them and went, no, skip it. Especially if you only have enough money to go to certain conventions and you can't just go to unlimited ones, because if you look at Niagara Falls convention in a couple months, that's where you're going to go meet celebrities. They're going to be swamped there. So yeah, walked around. I actually ended up meeting Mike Farland, who played Buggy the Clown in One Piece.
I have not seen One Piece. I do not know who Buggy the Clown is. I know the face. I know what the character looks like. But the person who was working with him, I know him well. So we had a quick conversation, and I walked over and said hello to the gentleman, Mike, and I didn't want to be like, I have no freaking idea what you do or who you are, but it's nice to meet you. But yeah, it was nice to it's nice to know that I didn't hear anything about any celebrities being issues, which, to be fair, for all the conventions I've worked, there are very few who have any issues, which is nice, because I've heard a lot of stories from the US conventions that there are certain ones that are like, we don't want to deal with those people. So far, so good. Andre in chat says the security searches for bags were hilariously quick. Certainly help folks get in quicker, at least. Yeah. So what did I get in with? I brought a Zoa with me. I just had that in the pouch for my sweater. They didn't check my pouch. Yeah, other than that, I just had my fanny pack, and that just had deodorant and meds in it, so that was fine. Yeah, their security is interesting. I've had some run-ins with them, especially with Luigi. It made me laugh. If you guys don't know, I do a Luigi cosplay, and I have the Luigi vacuum, and it's literally just a vacuum that I've ripped the insides out. But where all the accessories would be in the vacuum, that is all hollowed out, and I put snacks in there. So I've gone into the convention with that full of snacks, and they've not checked it. However, they have made me go through weapons check, which I'm just staring through them like, what it could be a weapon. I'm like, it's a vacuum. Well, we have to make sure to check it. For what? And the checking is them literally going, you're good. Tie a ribbon on and I'm gone. And I'm like, that's not a check. I could just stand there, twirl like a princess, and walk in, basically. Yeah, Natasha, oh no, he's going to suck everyone up. Like, I understand when I did Arsenal and I had a bow, it was one thing, but when they did the vacuum, I'm just like, how slow is your day that you need to check this? And again, not even check it, like open it up. But whatever, that's their security. They've after doing that venue for conventions for over a decade, and that's their security, by the way, for folks who don't know, that is not Fan Expo security. Fan Expo has their own security. They're usually in suits. That is Metro Toronto Convention Center security. So yeah, it's I don't want to say they don't care, but unless something bad happens, it doesn't seem like they care. JS, dude, I was made to check my lightsabers last year at Expo. Yeah, and that I've seen people get lightsabers checked. I've seen Andrew does an amazing condiment king. He got his ketchup and mustard guns checked. That's funny. I like that. I really like that. But yeah, they whatever. That's security. Some positives about the con. I didn't mind having food downstairs. I know a lot of people had, it's an odd place if you've ever been to, I'm going to try to explain this to the people who didn't go. So the main con is on one level. There is a level which is street level. That usually has a lot of cosplay meetup stuff. They did have some, but they also opened up a couple rooms to the other side, and they had food in there, like Pete's Pizza and other stuff. I didn't mind that. It just kind of made it weird that they put the rest of the cosplay stuff in the basement and nothing else. Like, I was told that it was going to be downstairs, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And then when I went down there on Sunday, I was like, oh, it's the only thing really down here besides, a couple rooms for Q&As. The food should have been in the basement. Honestly, Crystal, I kind of agree. I wouldn't have mind having it in the basement. I just think moving it, I think it's easier for them to just go on the ground level. Victoria said, I like that the food court wasn't on the show floor, but they definitely needed 100 times more seats. They always do. They always do. JS says they had podcasts in the basement. Not a clue. Didn't have a clue. Didn't have a clue. And we'll get into this a little bit more later. I do have a list of things they can improve on. I kind of want to save the complaining for the end. Natasha, I'd never been in the basement till this year. The lighting down there was horrible for backdrops. Yeah. I knew the basement was there because I've done the masquerade for Fan Expo so many years that's where all that's held. So I always know it's there. There's never anything down there besides the masquerade usually. So, and the Q&As, the big Q&As are down there, but that's about it. I did see the cosplay red carpet was up and running, which was great to see. Great idea to get people who are a little bit of stage fright and don't want to do the big masquerade. It's a great way to get your cosplay seen. The host was Bear Sailor Moon. I've known of Bear Sailor Moon for probably since I started cosplaying. He does an amazing job. And I'm so glad he is the MC. He kills it when he's up on stage with a microphone. Good for him. Seriously. Good for him. I've yacked with him once in a blue moon. Every couple conventions, I'll say hi to him because he's usually busy doing 15 things. But it was good. I went and sat and watched the red carpet for a little bit. And yeah, he did a great job emceeing, kept the energy level up. I hope they keep him for Fan Expo because he deserves to get that spotlight because he does a great job. The one thing I would love for him to do, and I don't think he's ever done it at a Fan Expo. There was a convention that's no longer around. It used to be called Unplugged in Mississauga. And I remember seeing him do the masquerade, and he was doing Sailor Moon as he usually does. But he had the Sailor Moon, just the dress, like the princess dress, and he had built it so when he twirls, it ripped off and the Sailor Scout outfit was underneath. He did a beautiful tear off. It was seamless. I would love to see him do that again. I know he's starting to go towards other things. I know he has a Mario and a couple other things, but seeing him do that unveil was beautiful. So I hope he keeps doing the Sailor Moon thing. I know it's his name, but I hope he keeps it up because he's really good. And I can't say enough good things about him. Honestly, when it comes to all the cosplayers, I saw so many good cosplayers, and especially for a Sunday, I was honestly thinking it was going to be a little slow on the Sunday because Saturday is usually the big day for all conventions, but there were still some stunning cosplays. There was a couple, I can't remember what the character was, but she had some beautiful wings and an amazing train on her dress. I'm trying to think of some other ones. I know Reed Props Plus had a great cosplay running around as Loki. Trying to think of some other ones. They're all blanking on my head. I know his friend, I cannot remember his name, had an amazing looking Thor. All the guests, they were all had lineups like crazy, people talking. The cosplay for a cure people, they were blowing it out of the water as always. They had a great station lined up. They always do amazing work, folks. If you ever have any problems at a Fan Expo or a Toronto convention, go see Cosplay for Your Cure. They have pretty much everything under the sun that could help you fix your cosplay. Yeah, I do. Yes, the female Marva the Martian. That was, I can never remember her name. JS will say it because they're buddies. I know her, but I didn't get a chance to say hi to her. Yes, she does an incredible Marvin the Martian. Yeah, all the cosplayers, not possible. Thank you. Yes. I saw her for a quick second. I didn't get a chance to say hi. But yeah, her Marvin's amazing. She does a great job. Go check out her social media. She's got some pretty funny videos, that she just posted today. A lot more anime. And I see the trend. I saw a little bit of it in, I saw it a little bit at Fan Expo, but I saw it a lot at Toronto Comic Con. I don't mind it. I'm not I'm not an anime fan, but I know that's becoming the big trend. Is a lot of people are watching old anime, new anime, etc. Um, I have no problem with it. I really saw it when there was one of the Instagram stories was one of the add to it type stories, and it was add what your cosplay is. So I added mine, and then I went back and saw what everyone else's was, and it was all anime. And I'm like, okay, we're gonna be anime heavy, and man, was I right. But really good cosplays, really solid. I don't think there was any that I was like, not bad. I think they all did a great job, whether it was bought or built or whatever you want to do. Good job. I can't wait to see what everyone pulls out for Fan Expo, because if that's how good they did for Toronto Comic Con, we got some big stuff coming to Fan Expo. And I know the Geeks and Co folks have some big stuff. Freakish Workshop's got some big stuff. And I literally mean big stuff. So it'll be fun to see that. When it comes to booths, because I've been doing cons for so many years, the booths all kind of run the same. Like, I've seen all of their booths a million times. The artist alley changes up from time to time, which is nice. You get a bunch of new artists in every couple cons. They're kind of all, I don't want to say they're all the same, but there's a lot of similar things. Buttons, pins, patches, prints, like that's kind of the stuff you're looking for. They all do good stuff. It's just as I joke, I need more walls than I do prints and stuff like that. So it's not really stuff for me anymore, but I do like going through them. There was a ton of people in Artist Alley on Sunday, so I didn't really get a chance to look at everybody's. I did pick up some stuff. I want to talk about some of the cool stuff I picked up. There was a booth at one of the end caps that I was really excited. I think I've seen them at Anime North, but they had some stock at this one that I've never seen before. I don't know. Nope, gotta spin this way. Let me see. So there's a bag right there, and that is my new convention bag. When I'm volunteering, I just picked it up a couple months ago, and it's one of those across the shoulder bags that'll hold all my stuff in it. And I need some things for it. I don't want to bring pins and buttons because those tend to fall off. I want something a little more secure. So I picked up Maximals and Insecticons patches because I love Gen 1 of Transformers, but I'm a Beast Wars kid. So I will at least be putting the Maximals on there. I might put the Insecticon. I'm not sure. I was kind of hoping, well, wasn't hoping, but I was thinking my wife would want that one because she's more Decepticon than I am, but I might put both. I might just put both. And I also picked up a couple Reboot patches because I love Reboot, but also the first thing I ever purchased at a convention, and this was back in 2009, was a Reboot button. And I still have the button, but unfortunately the back pieces broke off, so I cannot use it as a button anymore. But now I have two patches that I will be putting on there. So if I'm ever in a crisis, I can reboot and be good. And these people were giant Reboot fans. And because I purchased these, they gave me see if you can focus there, celebrating 30 years of Reboot badge, or whatever you want to call this. And I'll definitely be putting that up somewhere. I know those are becoming a big trend to be giving out for cosplayers and I don't know, boosts too. So that was really cool to pick up. When it comes to comic, I can help you I know you can help me in the button department, Lynn. You are very good at making buttons. I've seen some of your stuff. When it comes to my main fandom, and that is comic books, there isn't much I go looking for when it comes to comics because I literally have a giant shelf here, one of those IKEA thinner ones that is full of graphic novels. So it's really rare for me to find anything. But I was walking past this one booth and they had a long box sitting there and it said, anything in the box, $5. And I started flipping through it. And the guy that was running the booth was actually sitting next to me. And he said, I'm trying to get rid of these. I'll make you a deal. I'll give them to you for $3. And I went, all right, I'll keep looking. And I hit two of these. And I don't know if he was kidding because I couldn't actually tell by his tone if he was like, those shouldn't be in there, or if he was just joking. But I ended up picking up 2 Dread graphic novels, Hard Case Papers, Volume 1 and Volume 3 from the 2000 AD series, and I'm a giant Judge Dredd fan. Spoilers, folks. I have a big cosplay idea for Fan Expo that I'm going to start working on, but there are 2 cosplays that I have done in the past that I'm going to try and upgrade for Fan Expo this year. And this is one of them. JS, if you're still in the chat, I need to talk to you at some point in the next day or two about 3D printing, because I have some pieces that I need to 3D print, and I think you're the individual to help me. Other than that, the only thing is something that I have been eyeballing for years, and I finally said I need to pick this up because it is going to get harder and harder to find, because they A, don't make these anymore, and B, I don't think anybody has the license for it anymore. I am a big wrestling fan. I'm also obviously a big movie fan. One of my favorite movies that I have not watched in a long time, Best Dread, Carl Urban or Sly Stallone. All right, we're going to pause for a second here. I can enjoy the Sly Stallone Judge Dredd because I know that it's not accurate. I will fully admit, when I make this cosplay, I will probably be making the Sly Stallone blaster. I kind of like that one a little better than Carl Urban's. But I still like that movie. I've watched the Carl Urban one way more, but I still enjoy the Sly Stallone. Anyways, the thing I've been looking at for the longest time has been a Roddy Piper all at a bubblegum soda. If you are a fan of the movie They Live, he mentions that he has come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and he's all out of bubblegum. Whether I'm going to actually open this and drink it, I don't know. I'll see. I might try and pick up a second bottle just because I do kind of want to try it. But yeah, it's kind of nice to have that in the collection finally. That is all I really purchased this weekend. I didn't spend a ton of money, just because if you've watched a previous episode, it was episode 2 where I talked about working at Toys R Us. I've come to the point now where I'm just glad this stuff exists. I don't need to have it in my collection because it's going to sit on a shelf somewhere else, or it's going to sit on a shelf here. I'm never going to play with it or anything like that, but I still just like having some of these little things, but I don't need everything anymore. Where are we here? I'm looking at my notes. Geeks & Co. Let's talk about JS and the Geeks & Co. Dude, they were killing it as always. Seriously, every time I walked past their booth, they had a lineup. And dude, they deserve it. They are the life of the party when it comes to that community corner. They had the music bumping. They had all amazing cosplayers there. They had, I don't know the cosplayer's name, but dressed as Chewbacca in the Star Wars, and for Star Wars Day on Sunday. Dude, they were killing it. They did a great job. They did such a great job in that corner. I feel bad for the Toronto Ghostbusters. They got put in a really bad position in the corner where almost nobody knew they were there. I felt really bad for them because they do an incredible job when it comes to, getting people involved. I don't know why they put them there. I don't know who they pissed off, but yeah, I feel bad for them. But the Geeks & Co., they were bumping. It was great over there. Everyone looked like they were having a great time. Freakish Workshop donated a helmet that they gave away for a raffle. You could buy tickets for that. I think that's going to possibly, I don't know for sure, but that might become a thing that happens every now and then, because Freakish Workshop does an amazing work on his foam cosplay, and I can't wait to see what they do next. Like I said, I know the Geeks & Co. have a lot of plans for Fan Expo, so keep them on your social media as well, because they have a lot coming up. I loved running into the fellow cosplayers. It was so good to see everybody. Folks, seriously, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, I have done this con, or this venue, convention, whatever you want to call it, since 2009. I started going with a group of friends who were not cosplayers. They're just friends of mine. And slowly life happened and they weren't able to afford to go and life got in the way, etc. I've always gone because I love this community and going to conventions so much. There was a very short period, but an impactful period where I was going solo. I still go to conventions on my own. My wife has been to conventions 1,000 times. She doesn't go anymore. I go by myself. And I never had people to interact with. Seriously, I would go, everybody's messaging me. I would go to these conventions so many times on my own, and I didn't know anybody. I would walk around the convention for hours, going to see things, going to sketch duels, meeting celebrities, but I didn't know Jack. I didn't know anybody. And it honestly was fun, but it kind of felt lonely after a while. Now I go and I see so many people I know, and it means so much to me because I honestly feel like I'm part of a community now and I feel like I'm accepted. And that means so, so much to me. I will fully admit, there were a couple cosplayers, no one in chat, but there were a couple cosplayers who I did not recognize because I've seen them in other cosplays or I've seen their real face and it's covered. And there was at least two that came up and hugged me and they're like, Mike. And I'm like, hey, I have no idea who you are, but you seem nice and you know me. So that's good. But yeah, it was so good to run into a bunch of you guys and anyone that came by. Thank you. There were a couple of you who gave me amazing compliments on the podcast. That means a lot to me too. I'm sorry if it took me a minute to realize who some of you were. Again, no one in chat. There was others. But yeah, thank you so much. It really means the world to me if you come by and see me. This was a con where I had this mug showing a whole lot, which this mustache is never coming back, by the way. For those who ran into me and wondered, why does Weird Al have this little mustache? In the video, he does, and I hated it. And as soon as I got home, I shaved it off. I hate having a mustache. It looks weird on me. I look like my dad, and my dad had a huge mustache when I was a kid. I can't. It looks weird on me, so it just bleh. The Weird Al cosplay was a blast. I had so much fun, Lynn. Yes, I did. Yes, Brooke did run into me. Yes, Squirrel Girl did run into me. It was good to see her, and she did mention you. You need to come back, by the way. Lynn in chat is an OG cosplayer. Like when I was little, and I mean little like teens, she cosplayed. So we need to get her back into the con scene because she did some pretty cool cosplays. Weird Al was a blast. It was so fun walking around. I completely understood going in that this is a very, very, very niche cosplay from decades ago that a very small point of people will understand and get. So I was totally understood that nobody was going to really want photos with me from the general population. And I'm okay with that, folks. If you're new to cosplay and you make a cosplay and you feel like you didn't get a bunch of photos, so it was a failure, you're not a failure. It's just what you wanted to cosplay. I used to feel like that. I remember doing cosplays, and if they didn't get an X amount of photos, then it was, why'd I waste my time? Don't feel that way. Cosplay for who you want to cosplay. Yeah, Weird Al was a blast. I got a couple good compliments from it. The cosplayers who I did run into all had great ideas. I want to send another, I know I've said it a bunch, but I do want to send a shout out to Meg. She's the one who made this sweater for me. I have a Cricut at home and I've barely used it because I just had no use for it yet, but I know I need to. She did an amazing job on this hoodie. This is going to be protected for sure. I can't wait to wear it again. Oh, Andrew in chat says, don't lie. It must have also been pretty comfortable compared. 100% it was comfortable. 100% it was comfortable. I walked over and saw JS sweating his butt off. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm a little warm in this hoodie. It ain't too bad. For those who saw my Instagram yesterday, I did have a wardrobe malfunction. Let me explain. So these are the jeans that I was wearing yesterday. And I had a little accident. Let me see if I can get it here. So there's the wait, this way. There's the front of the jeans, and this is the inside of the leg. So I originally did have a hole in the groin of these pants. I noticed it the night before. These were my only jeans that would work for this cosplay. So I was just going with a hope and a prayer that they would survive. They survived, but the second I got back to the car and stretched my leg in, just tore a hole in them. So those jeans are going to be retired. And by retired, I mean thrown in the garbage probably, because I don't know how much sewing is going to be needed for those. But yeah, it's much funnier to say, as I said in the story, that I was tackled by so many fangirls on my way to the car that they tore my pants off. Yeah, it's the fun of cosplay. It just happens. Yeah, so that was the con. Let's talk about a couple things they could improve, because with every convention you can improve things. Things they could improve. Honestly, I am a big X-Men fan. I am so excited for the 20th for X-Men 97. I had no bloody idea where the X-Men guests were. They were not up with the regular guests up on the main level. I don't know if they were downstairs. I don't know if they were down a hall. I did not see any of them, which kind of, well, I wanted to meet Jubilee, Allison Court, because she also plays Claire Redfield. She is the voice for Claire Redfield in the Resident Evil series. She was just there on Saturday, so I wouldn't have got a chance to meet her anyways. But honestly, I have no idea where they were. And I know they've done this in the past where either they've gotten last minute guests and need to find a space for them, or they've decided they would be better suited somewhere else. They need to keep everybody together. They need to keep everybody together, because if I go, I want to meet a celebrity, I want to go to one area. I don't want to have to bounce and look all over the place for them, because I'm either going to just find something else that's going to take my attention, or I'm just going to give up. So that is something they definitely have to do. I don't know about the rest of you, but this felt like there was more new con goers than I can remember in the past couple years. A lot more shoulder checks and a lot more little kids running around aimlessly. It happens. You bring families to Comic-Con, but there was a lot of, it seemed like newbies there when it came to it. When it came to con goers. JS says, I believe they're in the room in the 200 going towards the hotel. I wish someone would have showed me a sign, because I had no idea. Not that I'm dying, not that I was going for an autograph, but I would have liked to have at least gone over there and said hi. Which makes me laugh, because I only saw two of my friends, three, four of them that were in that area of autographs, and usually there's a ton more, so they may have been down there. I just didn't get to see them. What else? The photo park downstairs was crap. I'm sorry. I had the idea that it was going to be good. The way they had it set up downstairs was crap. It was crap because it was right in front of the escalators, which made it a problem because people got to the bottom and just stopped. I think if you're going to put something downstairs like that, you need to put a whole bunch of stuff. Like, I can't remember who said it in chat, but having all the food down there would be great. Having all the cosplay stuff down there is great. Having a whole bunch of stuff down there is one thing. Having one little thing down there that is only used for certain times, that's a failure in my book. I think you could have done so many better things with, and again, where would you put them? I don't know, but just that, I think that was a fail on Expo's part. I don't know why this con's 3 days. Yeah, the lighting was awful. Whatever. It's Expo, it's cosplay. We all know it's just, never mind. I don't know why this con's 3 days. Even for somebody that has never been to a con. I understand that it gives people the availability. I can understand a short day on Friday, but doing a full day on Friday, I don't see it. I mean, it's another day that can make money. I understand the business side of it, but I think if you kept it a short day on Friday, I don't think you're losing too much. I think the people that you would lose at the beginning of Friday could easily do a Saturday or a Sunday. That's my opinion. I think it's kind of a waste. Again, it's one floor con. There's other cons in the area that do 2 days. Yeah, I don't know. I think something like a Niagara Falls doing 3 days is one thing because they are jammed packed with celebrities and they don't want everybody showing up on one moment. That I can understand. But something like this, I don't know. I think they could easily do a half day on a Friday and do a just do a full day Saturday, Sunday. My opinion. And lastly, this is, I want to stress, I don't know all the information about this. This is all what I've heard through secondhand, third hand. Supposedly there was a cell phone issue where a bunch of cell phones got pickpocketed. I don't know any background information on that. I don't know any, any details except what probably the rest of you have read online. I know a security guard has told a bunch of people that 100 of them were stolen. I'm going to go on record and call bullshit on 100. I think that's a way over exaggeration. I think if 100 of anything got stolen during a convention, I feel like I would have seen more talk about it of actual people saying they were stolen. Crystal said that a friend of hers has been taken. I know there are at least a couple were stolen from what I've read, but I feel like it would have been way more. I feel like I would have seen every other post would have been my cell phone was stolen. Anyways, whether it was one, whether it was 100, whatever, it shouldn't happen. Unfortunately, it does happen. And as Crystal says in chat, laughed in her face to the security. Yeah, that security can only do so much. Oh, that's good. Alex said that he saw at least 10 in security office that have been turned in. I know security can only do so much. I did witness a friend of mine who's a volunteer. Her backpack was stolen from behind one of the celebrity tables last year. Unfortunately, this stuff happens. There isn't a ton that they can do. And that's the problem, is that once something's stolen, it's kind of hard for, like, they can only do so much investigating. And it sucks. 100% it sucks. And I wish they could do more, but even with her backpack being stolen, they were like, we can investigate, we can look around, we hope it gets turned in, but they can't stop the con and search everybody. And that's the problem, is they can only do so much. Best idea, folks, keep everything in front pockets, keep everything tied down. I don't know. I'm a guy, and I don't know why anybody uses their back pockets for wallets and cell phones. Like, I've never used my back pockets for anything. They're always like for water bottles and stuff. Any cell phone, wallet, keys, they're all either in my pouch in the front or they're in my front pockets. Or bring a bag and put them all in your backpacks. Yeah, it happens, sadly. It sadly happens at cons and in life in general. I mean, I'm going away to Europe, and I know there's a couple places that we're headed that do have a lot of pickpockets, and they can only do so much. I wish they were more empathetic towards people. Agreed. As I said at the beginning of the episode, security at the Metro Toronto Convention Center can be iffy at best. I think they have seen so much of it that they're just stone cold to it, and they don't have that heartfelt understanding of it, or it's a job for them and they really don't feel for people. I don't know. I did have my, Andrew says I did have my wallet on a chain for the con just in case. Yeah, that's another thing. Just do what you can, the best you can. I know if you go with kids or if you know, have a cosplay and you're pulling stuff out and moving stuff, it happens. You can misplace something or put it in a wrong pocket or something. Just do your best. That's all you can do, is do your best to mitigate that chance of happening. Overall, I thought it was a good con. I really, besides those little critiques that, you know, are going to happen every now and then, whether it comes to, you know, the way they laid out the con. You know, Fan Expo is starting to get a history of not being the best cosplay friendly convention, when I think at one point they used to be. I remember a time when that used to be the con for cosplay. I think it's still there, but I think it's more because it's just the biggest convention in the area more than it's a cosplay con. The food situation is always going to be an issue, trying to find places to put things and put people and put chairs and put tables. The cell phone thing is a cell phone thing. The guest thing is the guest thing. Overall, I give this a 7. I'd say it's a 7 out of 10. It was a good con. It's got its issues, but every con does. I'll be back next year. For those who don't know, back in 2020 during the pandemic, I put out a post saying that I wanted to be a cosplay guest by 2025. So 2025 is going to be the year where I'm really going to try and push to become a guest at Fan Expo, do my darndest to be at every convention, take as many photos as I can, put out as much content as I can. So if this year's a little slow, it's because of that. I'm gearing up for 2025. But yeah, that's my goal. Like I said, I've been going since 2009, and it's always been my goal to at least cosplay guest once. But yeah, that overall, Toronto Comic Con, 7 out of 10. I'll be there next year. I think they did a good job. I think, as always, they have things to improve. Hopefully by Fan Expo, they will improve because they will have a lot more room to put stuff through, and they'll have 2 floors and all that fun stuff. I think that's about it. We're at about the 57-minute mark. I'll let you guys have about 3 minutes left of your evening, folks. Thank you so much for stopping by. Please, if you're still here, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit all those things to make the channel bigger. Let your friends know that I'm going to do this for the next. I'm still doing this. I'm going to be doing con reviews every time I go to a con. I've got Anime North coming up. I've got Niagara Falls Comic Con coming up. I've got Fan Expo coming up. I've got London, Hamilton, all those coming up this year. I'll be doing those, as well as more geeky stuff. Next week, we're probably going to do a movie episode. I think I'm going to do the top 10 best movie sequels that are better than the originals, because I think there's a lot of sequels out there that do beat their originals. There are countless that aren't, but I think there's at least 10 we can talk about that do it better. So next week, we're going to do a quick top 10. After that, we're definitely going to be talking about wrestling, because WrestleMania season is in full swing. But folks, thank you for stopping by. It means the world to me you've stayed this long. Have a good night. I will see you all on social media next week here on Monday Night Nerd. Have a good week. I love you all. I'll see you soon. Take care. We'll see you soon. Hey, thanks for watching Monday Night Nerd. If you enjoyed this content, please hit the subscribe button, like this content, and follow on social media for even more nerdy fun. See you soon.